Hey y'all, this is your girl Tysheen. How you doing? How you feeling? I hope you're doing great. I hope you're doing great. Yes, you see the title. I've did this one. I did part 1 and part 2. So this is part 3. Okay, this is part 3, y'all. Okay. Man, oh man, the things I've heard. Some I'm not surprised, some I'm surprised. But it's crazy. It's crazy. The stuff that we go through here. The stuff that we go through here is crazy. So let's get started.
I'm currently living abroad. What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Oh my gosh, such a great question. I have so many. The one that sticks out of my mind right now is the first time I celebrated the 4th of July and the Kiwis were like, oh, happy 4th of July. And I'm like, yeah, suckers. We broke away from the Queen a long time ago and we have freedom and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, hold on. What freedoms don't we have? And why is it bad that other countries work together to protect each other and help each other? And America's always talking about freedom, and what freedoms do you have that we don't have? And
I don't know what freedom we have. Why? I don't know who's going around spreading this. Who's doing this?
I was like, hold up. All this rhetoric that I was told my whole life, the land of the free, we need to fight for our freedom, and it's such a value in the American society.
Freedom.
And when you think about how many countries are just as free, where does this freedom value come from? I mean, it came back from the Revolutionary War, but hello, there's a lot of countries that are free. It was eye-opening.
She's absolutely right.
Did y'all know that in other countries, they can go to the pharmacy and actually get what they need? I live in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia right now, and I went to the pharmacist and I was like, hi, I think I kind of have like a UTI. Like, do you have any pain medicine, any cranberry? And she's like, why don't I just give you antibiotic? And I was like, then I go back and I'm like, hi, I'm going to South Africa next week, like on safari, like any good, mosquito repellent? And she's like, girl, you want anti-malarials? And then I get bold with it, right? I go in there, on another occasion and I'm like, I'm back,
It's sad that we have to be like, I'm sorry to bother you. Because it's like we have to do that because when we here, you can forget it. They'll look at you like, what? Are you crazy? They give us that type of look. And it's gonna cost you.
I'm waiting for my birth control to come from the US. Like, it's taken a while, prescriptions and doctors and all that. And she literally threw the birth control at me.
Yeah, sometimes they want you to go. You have to get a prescription from your doctor. Now, remind you, now you have to go see your doctor. So that means you have to pay to see your doctor, so that way he could give you a prescription. And you gotta pay for that prescription.
Amazing.
Just one? If this tells you anything, I was only supposed to be abroad for a year. I'm on year 10. Yeah. Essentially,
I feel like that's gonna be me.
what I learned was me living, traveling, and working around the world was easier and cheaper than me just living in the US. So why would I go back to the US to live and spend more when I can travel and live in other countries and spend less? Make it make sense.
So I spent about 4 years in Berlin, Germany, working in advertising. And coming from New York, where my first 8 years in the industry, I just, you don't take vacation. You just don't really do that. Well, I had to have a sit down with the CEO of my company and the head of HR, where they took my laptop and took my work phone and told me I could not come back to the office for 3 weeks because I had to use my vacation time. They were afraid that I was going to sue the company for not being allowed to take my vacation time. So they made sure that I literally could not work. Imagine that happening in the US. Someone literally taking your computer and your work phone away and say, go, come back in 3 weeks, enjoy your vacation. Honestly, Europe has a lot going for it that I wish Americans would understand.
Yeah, it's so much stuff that. Now that's sad. That would piss me off. Y'all talking about who? Like free? Free? Who's saying this? Free?
I was working as a teacher in South Korea, and a lot of students actually have these little box cutters to cut stuff. I was kind of concerned that these were allowed in school because I was scared that people were going to stab each other.
Yeah, kids here are not allowed to have those because it's a lot of violent, especially in the schools here. And most majority of schools here, kids got to go through metal detectors. So, yeah.
So just for a little context, I live in Latvia now, but when this happened to me, I was working in the UK as a bartender. And my coworkers and I were talking about gun violence in the US, and they were kind of making jokes like, oh, I'm surprised you graduated and you didn't get shot first, and stuff like that. And I guess I was trying to defend it, so I was saying, it's not as bad as the news makes it seem. I only know one school that had an active shooter and had to go into lockdown, and for me, I only had one gun threat in high school, and it was just a threat, and one when I was in elementary school. And then my coworkers kind of looked at me like, you what? And you think that's normal? And I was like, yeah, it's not even that bad.
That is sad. It is bad. It's bad. That's really bad. It's sad. Active shooting happens all the time here, especially in schools. A lot of schools in every state. Sad.
I'm a U.S. citizen currently living in Costa Rica. We have to be careful about the use of the word American since the Americas are continents. Anyway, I have so many examples of how the U.S. fucked me up, specifically Florida. We got to Costa Rica the second weekend in November, obviously still deep in the throes in the US with COVID. And coming from Florida where there's so many anti-maskers and COVID deniers, it was surreal to go to these establishments here where everyone's following the Ministry of Health's rules. There's hand washing stations outside of every establishment. There are people taking your temperature to go into grocery stores and certain restaurants. People are giving you distance. Everyone is compliant with masks. And I found myself so defensively postured, ready to argue because I had gotten into so many arguments in Florida with anti-maskers and COVID deniers. It's amazing when people don't politicize a virus.
2008 or 9, 20 years old, Munich, Germany. City passes the vibe check, no doubt, but I didn't have anyone with me. And I'm trying to get cigarettes from a machine, my ID doesn't work. Cop shouts from across the street, he's on his way to me. Hey, you, sir, is there anything I can help you with? And immediately no, I'm sorry, don't worry about it, I'm getting out of here anyway. And I keep it moving, and he's like, no, hey, you. And I keep it pushing, like, hey, you? Nah, get the fuck out of here. And the next
How the way he said that, I don't know if he's from...
cop stops me, and I immediately drop everything
from New York?
that's in my hands as I take my hands out of my pockets, so I don't get shot. And so he ends up buying me a pack of cigarettes, bringing me to the nearest bar, explaining to me that they go to 4 years of college to do this, get paid $50,000 a year more than our cops, and bought me a drink.
What is one?
Yeah, America really messed us up for real. We go to other countries, we don't know how to act.
When I lived in Paris, my period changed because there wasn't as much hormones in the food. If you live abroad for any length of time, your period will also become different over time and revert when you return.
I didn't know that.
So for me, it was a few different times while I was living in Australia.
She's pretty.
One time with the various shootings that we have here in the States, my boss came to me and he was like, are you okay? How are you feeling? Do you need some time off? And I was like, why? And he was like, because I heard about the shooting that happened back in the States. I had to sit there and have an honest moment with myself and him to realize that I had built up a numbness to all the shootings because they happen all the time. So that sucked. Number 2. I have horrific cramps. I always have. They make me pass out. I throw up. I've been in the emergency room I don't know how many times at this point. It's just how it's been. I fought against it, but I finally had my roommate take me to the emergency room, and my total was $100 when I left. As someone who was only on a working holiday visa and not a $2,000 bill like it would have been in the States.
You see what I'm talking about? That is crazy. You see what I'm talking about?
I first started school and asked them when we have our first training for school shootings, and they asked me, what is that? I walked into a supermarket and I was confused as to why there weren't any guns on the shelves. When I went on a walk with my friends and they wanted to walk over someone's farm because it was a shortcut, and I said I didn't want to go because I was afraid of getting shot, and they looked at me like I was crazy. When I saw police cars driving up and I realized that nobody besides me was scared shitless. When I watch political talk shows and they're actually having a conversation and discussing an actual topic instead of talking over each other and insulting each other. When I noticed that over here nudity and sexual expression was seen as natural and normal while violence is talked down upon, when in the States violence is everywhere and nudity and sexuality are taboo.
Oh man.
Oh man, I got so many stories. As you may know, I'm an American living in Italy, and there have been so many times I'm thinking, oh my god, America is so messed up. Most recently is when I gave birth to my daughter. So I decided to give birth to my daughter here in Italy, and basically before you give birth, they recommend that you meet up with an anesthesiologist. Even if you don't want the epidural beforehand, they recommend you do so just in case, like an emergency, you really want one, or etc.
That's extra money right there.
Comunque, so I didn't even end up getting the epidural, but I had to pay for the meeting, and I'm thinking, oh no, how much is this meeting gonna cost? It was 30 euros. 30 euros is the equivalent of maybe, let's say, like $40. And also, too, I stayed in the hospital for 3 days, got completely taken care of, and I didn't pay a cent. A cent.
So I'm an American, and I live in Norway right now.
Norway is a place I'm gonna stop by too. I want to visit so bad.
And one time I was going to help
I'm going to visit
my friend with this project that she had, and this girl was still in high school. And so she was like, yeah, just come to my high school, you can help me out, yada yada yada. I was like, great. Where do I have to sign in when I get there? Do I need to wear a visitor's badge? Who do I talk to? What should I tell the front desk lady? She was like, what are you talking about? Just walk in and I'll meet you at my classroom. And my mind was blown. I was like, I can just walk into your school? Like, no. Aren't they going to call the police? Aren't they going to send out an intruder alert? Like, I can't just walk into your high school and just walk straight to your classroom. No. Then I realized just how messed up it is that American high schoolers are like security prisons.
That is crazy. The fact that you could just walk in. Norway, okay. Can't do that here in America. Hell no. They will call the cops on you.
So I live in Romania, and I feel like
Romania.
the most astonishing thing to me when I moved here was how easy it is to find someone to go out with, to go out and have drinks with, to go out and have dinner with. Any given day, somebody wants to go out. Whereas in the US, I feel like we're all so stressed out and miserable that we just want to stay home.
Yeah, I kind of said what she's saying. Yeah, that's how I am too. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I miss like going out with someone and just going to date, but it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about here. It's draining. I guess it's mentally draining. So it's like, what you want to do? Just stay home. You don't want to go. You don't really want to,
So I live in Estonia now, and I remember the first year that I moved here. It was around the beginning of December, and I remember hearing like gunshots, like really loud gunshots, like and a lot of them. So me being from Brooklyn, I immediately think that there's some crazy shootout going on outside. So I go and I look out the window, and sure enough, it's fireworks.
Yeah.
Fireworks are kind of sort of illegal in New York City,
but they
I was used to just automatically assuming that it was gunshots. Yeah, that's kind of when I realized that America's kind of messed up.
She's right. People are not really supposed to have fireworks here, but they still use it anyway because nobody does anything. But the fireworks here is like it really messes us up because it makes us think that like some people don't know the difference, but I kind of can hear the difference. But it's still scary because you don't know what's going on. So it's like, and I hate it. I hate the noise. I hate the whole firework. I hate it. It's just too noisy because they'll start doing it from like, I don't know, May. From May they'll start and they don't finish until maybe like August. It's so annoying.
So when I was a teenager, I went out of the country one time to go on vacation to the Bahamas, and we were staying at this resort, and shit happened. I caught a virus.
I kind of like that small little mic.
That was going around the resort, and then I had an allergic reaction to the virus, and I couldn't really breathe, but the on-site paramedic had already left for the day, so the hotel concierge took us to the hospital in his van and just told us to call when we were ready to head back. So we go to the hospital, I get treated, and as we're leaving, my mom tries to give them her insurance card, and she's telling them, like, I'm so sorry, we've never been out of the country before, I don't know how to do this. They told her, like, oh no, you just keep that, we don't take insurance here. And the look on my mom's face was terrified, like, oh my god, we're gonna have to sell our house, terrified. This was when they realized we were Americans, and they were like, oh no, don't panic, you must be American, we have universal health care here, you just need to pick up your medicine in the lobby, you're fine. The medicine was $8, and they gave me a note to give to the airline to get back into my own country.
$8? $8. This is crazy. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. Some I'm not surprised, some I'm surprised, but I shouldn't be surprised. By now I shouldn't even be surprised anymore. I've been watching some of these videos. I don't think any of these surprise me, but America do mess us up. Because we go to other countries, we don't know how to act. You know, we always thinking negative. You know, they really got us messed up over here. The fact that some of the stuff you don't even have to pay for. Some of the stuff is free. Some of them is nothing. And we gotta pay like hundreds, thousands of dollars for medication and to go see the doctor, to ride an ambulance. All of that costs thousands of dollars. Some places, yeah, some of us do have insurance, but it doesn't cover everything. You know, you still gotta pay money. So it depends on your insurance, depends on the company you work for, yeah, and your income. But this is crazy. This is ridiculous. Wow. Anyway, I did part 1 and part 2, so you can go check them out. I don't know if they have part 4. I'll see if they do. I could do more if you want me to. If there's any other videos you'd like me to react to, comment below and let your girl know. And also, take care of yourself. Be safe out there. There's other videos here you can watch too. And I'll see you lovely people. Take care of yourself. Bye and peace.